What's up, YouTube? I've got 5 decks for Duskmourn Standard. These decks, I've just like you've been kind of interested in trying out the Duskmourn cards. So yeah, let's get right into it and not waste any time. First deck we got is Doomir Mill. This is the deck that I've primarily been playing. It's very fun. So you're running kind of a control deck. You're running the new Doomsday, and if you don't know what he does, I'll read it. When Doomsday Excruciator enters, if it was cast, each player exiles all but the bottom 6 cards of their library face down. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card. So you play him on turn 6, and you mill, all but 6 cards from your opponent and yourself, to be fair. And then you finish the game off with a Jace or a Restless Reef swinging in, or Founding of the Third Path. The second part of the saga that lets you mill target player, and I think there's you can also breach. Sometimes you can just breach, and then on their turn they draw. So there's about 12 ways, I think. 4 with Jace, 4 with Founding, 2 with Breach, and 2 with Restless Reef that lets you mill your opponent after you play Doomsday. This deck is pretty fun. This is definitely my most played deck this past week. A lot of fun. You pretty much milling your opponent every single game. If you're winning the game, if you're losing the game, then your life points at 0, but your life total's at 0. But other than that, you're just running a ton of removal. Running 2 Disfigure in the main. Anoint. Anoint with Affliction has been really good. Exiling not only all the kind of the fling dudes that can hit you, or like a Mosswood Dread Knight, whatever. 2 Bitter Triumph, 2 Long Goodbye, which is nice against Liliana. You can shoot Liliana. Sheoldred's Edict's been pretty nice. I think this card's very good in the meta right now, especially with kind of the new Planeswalker Kaido. He does have hexproof, so being able to, make them sack him as soon as they play him is pretty good. Or even like it hits Kaya, because Kaya has hexproof, and again, like, this does not target, they just sacrifice. We're playing the new land. This land is great. All these lands are great. I think you probably want to be running 4 of these in every single deck you're playing. Absolute quality. And then the sideboard, I kind of messed around with the sideboard a bit, and we have 3 negates. I put 4 Leyline the Void, because if you're against like Squirming, this is you just kind of win the game. So yes, it takes up a lot of the sideboard slot, but you do end up just winning the game. 2 more Disfigure for if we're against aggro. 4 Tishana. Tishana is great. You can throw this in a lot of matchups. It's very good against Domain, but it's also good against any deck that's running Fabled Passage. Another Deadly Cover-Up, and another Breach. So this deck is really cool. If you want to mill your opponents out, this is the one. All right, deck number 2. So if you want to play Azorious Control, this is the list. We've got mostly the same deck that you're familiar with, running Tishana's, Beza's, Caretaker's Talent. The newer cards in here are 4 Overlord the Mistmores. Great card. You can make some bodies early, and then becomes kind of a win condition once it transforms. It also it procs your Caretaker's Talent. It works well in the deck. It's very good. The other new card here is Unwanted Remake. So destroy target creature, it's controlled Manifest Dread. I don't know how good giving your opponent a 2/2 is, but it is 1 mana. So, 1 mana removal, even with a downside, that's an instant. Pretty good, especially against, all these aggro decks running around. It is worth it. You will just die on 1. You need an answer on 1. It's a 1 mana instant that can deal with, dirty little leyline decks running around. Very good. The other new card, and I won't focus too much on the main board because most of it is the same. Other than, I guess I should mention, we are running 4 of the new land. Again, these new lands are great. Make sure if you have them, you're running them. But the new card in the sideboard that I just want to talk about is Exercise. Exercise exiles target artifact, enchantment, or creature with power 4 or greater. So, it is a sorcery, but it does hit artifacts. So it's kind of like Destroy Evil, but you do get to hit the artifacts, which is important against the Urbrass Forages that are, again, pretty prevalent. A lot of times, if you don't have enchantment removal against those decks, you're kind of just relying on either countering the Urbrass Forge or Tishana, or sorry, artifact removal. You're kind of counting on either you're getting you have No More Lies up on 3, or you Tishana it later. But this is a way that you can remove that. You can. It's also good against other Caretakers decks, Domain, whatever. So I think this is probably something that because of its flexibility, even though its sorcery speed will stay. And the rest is very typical. We've got some more Tishanas in the sideboard, Jaces, in case you're against another Caretakers deck. Great way to just finish the game. Jace has seen a lot of play. He's you can stick him in any blue deck to just finish games off. Lawrence, again, deals with other Caretakers decks, negates, combo, rest in peace for Squirming and whatnot. Any graveyard deck, but especially Squirming. But definitely a solid deck. Nothing too crazy, but some powerful new cards. Third deck I'm going to show you is Domain, but this is not like any Domain list in the past few weeks. So, ton of new cards here. Some of them are new in, new additions in Duskmourn. We've got both Overlords here. So Overlord the Mistmoors, which we talked about earlier in blue-white. And then we have Overlord of the Hauntwoods, which is the one that lets you ramp. Essentially, when it comes down, you make a everywhere land token that's every land type, and taps for every color. You've got Invasions of Tolvada, so you can bring Atraxa or various other creature cards, because you are running a lot more creatures in this deck, back to the board. But I think the newest or most unique addition to this deck is Zur, which I have seen lists of Domain with Zur, but I think with the Overlords, it is a lot better. For those not familiar with Zur, it has flying. It's 1/4 for 3 mana. Enchantment creatures you control have Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof. And for 2 mana, 1 and a white, target non-aura enchantment you control becomes a creature in addition to its other types and has base power and base toughness equal to its mana value. So you can make your Overlords on turn 4. You play this on turn 3. On turn 4, you can play Zur and make this into a creature that can start, swinging on turn 4, opposed to, having Impending 4 and coming out in like turn 7. Really, really powerful. There's also just some interesting cards in here. We've got Virtue Persistence. We've got Kaya. We have Analyze the Pollen. I think Analyze the Pollen works really, really well in this deck. You're running a lot of, 3-ofs, 2-ofs that or even 1-ofs that you can't necessarily reliably draw, but Analyze the Pollen lets you, for an additional cost, kind of search those out and put them into your hand, and then you kind of have an answer. It lets you find that answer and lets you play it, because you have so many answers, you have so many things that do, so many creatures that do different powerful effects, but you need a way to find them. Sideboard's a little interesting. We're running the two new of the Ghost Vacuum, Graveyard Hate, and it's also another way to reanimate Atraxa. Really, really strong. You're running 3 negates, couple Archangel of the Wrath, in case you are against aggro. This card destroys aggro decks, absolutely destroys them. If you can get to turn 4, turn 5 with this card, it kind of just it stabilizes for you. Running some more Tishanas, again, just an all around good card. It's good against Domain, it's good against aggro, good against Fabled Passage, can't go wrong. One Ranklow Prank, very interesting, did not expect that in this list. I don't even know where you throw this in. Maybe if I think it's against like hexproof decks. If you want to deal with things that are given hexproof and you need a way to deal with it, this is a way to deal with it. The end's great. We're running one in the main board, another one in the sideboard. It lets you, if your opponent's running a creature or planeswalker and that's like their only win condition, this absolutely destroys it. So against other domain decks, it's really, really powerful to just remove all their Atraxes, remove all their Archangel Wraths, whatever, and they're running with one less win condition in their deck. 2 more Sunfalls, and then we've got Invasion of Chandalar. I have not seen this card. I've never seen this card, but it's a powerful effect. When it enters, return up to 3 target permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. You're running a lot of really strong permanents, and I think you'd probably sideboard this in against other control decks that you really, really need to other control decks that you kind of need to go the distance with, right? They're going to be removing your creatures. You need to bring them back. You just need more win conditions. And then lastly, we have Velgavoth's Terror Eater, new Duskmourn card. I'm sure you know it. Flying lifelink ward. It's 9 mana, 9/9. Sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. That's the ward. If they're just running spot removal, this will end games. Absolutely. It is very, very expensive, but you can cheat it out with virtues. And then if you're playing against a mid-range deck and you can slam a Velgavoth, that will usually end the game. Usually mid-range decks aren't running many board clears, if any at all, and spot removal on this is it's no bueno. It is not good. You can't, the ward is so expensive that it's really, really hard to deal with if you have to target it. Number 4. Okay, so if you want to play Azorious, but you don't like playing Azorious Control, here you go. So this is Azorious Enchantments. This deck I've played against quite a bit. It's pretty good, has a lot of value. You've got Entity Tracker, which lets you draw a card every single time an enchantment enters, and you're playing all enchantments. You've got Enduring Innocence, which draws you a card every time a power 2 or less enters. And if it dies, it becomes an enchantment on the board. So pretty much very hard to deal with. They're going to have to remove it twice, exile it. So, ton of draw. Again, you're just running a lot of hexproof, a lot of protection spells, and you're just pumping up 1 or 2 dudes, swinging in. You can go wide with Gremlin Tamer. So there is a little bit of a go wide to this deck. I would say for the most part, this deck seems to just go tall and swing in. But again, like if they don't deal with the Gremlin Tamer, you can go very, very wide. Every time an enchantment enters, Gremlin Tamer creates a gremlin, a 1/1 gremlin token. In the sideboard, nothing too interesting. We've got some Elspeth Smites. I think that's for aggro, Destroy Evil for big dude, probably, and enchantments. So Atraxa, Caretakers. 2 more Ossifications, a Negate, some more Elspeth Smites, another Destroy Evil, 3 Negates total, and then 3 Kidnap. Kidnap's pretty interesting. So this is a Bloomburrow card. Enchant a creature. You either tap it or you gift a card and you steal it. So it's very, very interesting. I think, again, you play this when you have big things you want to steal. If they just have one big thing that you just absolutely need to take, this is the card. It's also an enchantment, so it synergizes well with the rest of your deck. All right, last deck we got here is Mardu Fling. This deck is absolutely insane. It is running, obviously, 4 copies of Leyline of Resonance. Absolutely busted card. You can finish games off on turn 2 with Cacophony Scamp and some kind of pump spells. This deck's ridiculous. I don't think there's anything crazy in the main. Let's talk about kind of the sideboard. So we got 4 Break the Spell. Pretty interesting. You can destroy, obviously, your opponent's enchantments, but you can also destroy your Monstrous Rage, your Leyline of Resonance, and draw a card, which is kind of cool. You're running a couple Elspeth Smites to deal with other aggro decks. you know, if you can kill their creature that's gonna hit your face for 10 before it hits, it's pretty good. And they're maybe not expecting that, right? They're not expecting the Elspeth Smite in an aggro deck. You're in 2 Dewdrop Cure. This deck does not function without creatures, and you do have limited creatures that you're playing, right? Because you have to play so many pump spells and fling spells to kind of make this deck work. If you run out of creatures, you're going to have a hard time. So Dewdrop Cure is a way to get those creatures back, kind of refuel, and go again after you've built up a hand. 3 Shard Mage rescues. So we're running 1 Shard Mage rescue in the main, but it is a way to just give hexproof. The Gruul version of these red decks is running Snakeskin Veil, and this is kind of a Snakeskin Veil, but it's just a Snakeskin Veil in white. So very, very good, very strong. And then we're running 4 Torch Tower. Again, I think this is just to beat out other aggro decks. Those are the decks. That's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on twitch.tv/wildman101, and I'll see you in the next video.